Okay, let's dive into this. We're going to talk about one of the most common and sneakiest traps our minds fall into. It's called the illusion of understanding, that feeling when you're absolutely sure you get something, right up until the moment you realize you totally don't.
You know this feeling, right? We've all been there. You're reading something or maybe watching a video, and you're nodding along, thinking, yep, this all makes perfect sense. But then someone asks you, hey, can you explain that to me? And poof, it's just gone. Your mind is a total blank. It's such a universal and kind of frustrating experience.
See, we tend to think that understanding is this one-time event, like a light bulb just flicks on in our head, something clicks, and once it does, that knowledge feels solid, permanent. We take the feeling of clarity as hard evidence that the information is locked in. But what if that feeling is actually the illusion itself? This really just hits the nail on the head. This is the core of the whole problem. When we're misunderstanding something, we don't feel confused or lost. We feel confident. We feel like we're right. The illusion is so powerful because it feels exactly like the real thing, which makes it almost impossible to spot in the moment. So if it's an illusion, why are we so drawn to it? Why does our brain crave that feeling of clarity, even if it's totally false? Let's break it down.
Well, our brains are basically wired for efficiency. They love to save energy. And clarity feels good because it cuts down on the hard mental work. It takes a messy, complicated world and makes it feel simple and under control. Not to mention, it's emotionally comforting. And there's a huge social upside, right? We tend to trust people who speak with confidence. They sound like they know what they're talking about, so we learn to value that feeling of certainty in ourselves too.
And this is the little cognitive shortcut our brain takes without us even noticing. An idea starts to feel familiar after you've heard it a few times. A really good explanation just flows so smoothly. Our brain mistakes that ease, that fluency, for actual competence. We think to ourselves, wow, this feels so easy. I must really understand it. Okay, so if it feels so right and so good, where does it all go wrong? Let's pinpoint that exact moment where this perfect, cozy feeling of clarity just completely shatters. And here it is. This is the crucial difference. On the left, you got recognition. That's when you're passively following along, not in your head. It feels easy because all the clues, all the structure is right there in front of you. But on the right, you have recall. That's when you have to actively reconstruct the idea from scratch in your own words. That is so much harder. And it's the ultimate test that instantly shows you where all the gaps in your knowledge really are. Now, here's a really important point. The feeling itself isn't fake. You genuinely are experiencing clarity in that moment. The problem is that the structure holding all those ideas together, it isn't yours. It's being loaned to you from the outside, by the book or the teacher or the video, and the second that external support is gone, the whole thing just collapses. This brings us to the single most useful idea in this whole explainer. It's a mental model that just perfectly explains this entire phenomenon. But before we get to it, just ask yourself this. When you feel that aha moment, that click of understanding, where's that clarity actually coming from? Is it coming from the outside in or from the inside out? And here we go. The big idea is the difference between borrowed structure and built structure. Borrowed structure is what you get from a great explanation. It feels clear, it feels easy, but it's temporary and super fragile. Built structure, on the other hand, is what you create inside your own mind. It's messy while you're building it, it feels uncertain, but once it's there, it's durable, it's flexible, and it's truly yours. Let's define that a little more clearly. Borrowed structure is like using a GPS to get around a city you've never been to. You follow the turn-by-turn directions, you get where you're going perfectly, but the moment you turn off the GPS, you're completely lost, right? You never actually learned the layout of the city. You were just following instructions. Built structure is the total opposite. It's like actually learning the city. You wander around, you might take a few wrong turns, you might get a little lost, but eventually you build a mental map. You know the neighborhoods, you can find new routes, you can adapt if there's a roadblock. The knowledge is flexible because you built it yourself from the ground up. So, this is the whole thing in one sentence. The illusion of understanding is simply our brain mistaking the easy, comfortable feeling of borrowed structure for the hard-won, durable reality of built structure. It's such a simple mistake, but it has huge consequences. All right, so why does this distinction matter so much in the real world? Let's talk about the actual costs of the solution and what a more authentic path to understanding really feels like.
Well, for anyone learning something, it's that horrible shock of failing a test you thought you were totally prepared for. For thinkers, it's when you become so confident in one idea that you just stop looking for better ones. And for leaders or decision makers, this one's dangerous. It's creating these plans that look fantastic on a PowerPoint slide, but completely fall apart the second they hit the real world, all because the understanding behind them was just too shallow.
So what's the takeaway here? It's not that we should get rid of confidence or doubt everything. Confidence is a useful tool. The real goal is to change our relationship with it. We need to start treating that wonderful feeling of clarity not as a finish line, but as a starting line. It's a signal that an idea is coherent enough to be worth engaging with, to start building with, not a sign that all the work is done. Because in the end, true understanding isn't some loud, flashy aha moment. It's usually much quieter than that. It's what's left over after the book is closed, the video ends, and all the external supports are taken away. It's the part that remains. So the question I want to leave you with is this: when all the support disappears for you, what remains?